special song for me.
No.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
But if I play more than, I think, 18 seconds, we get banned overseas, which is great because I have so many people overseas watching this. We'll just we'll set the mood. So, hey everyone, welcome to the Thursday edition of the BAC Story. Most of you know Meegan. She's one of the hosts. I guess the number one host. Highest ratings of any host, isn't that how that goes? Well, what were you just telling me, that you're the most popular?
I'm an occasional host. I have sub stewards. So don't get me in trouble.
Well, the TLC's most popular host, but Meegan is we talked a few weeks ago, and she told me something. I said, just hold that thought. We got to go live with this one, but and I'll just preempt it. Where Meegan's company, she does very well with them. Got moved up, and got invited to Austin. And when I was talking, and she's got what, 5.5 years of sobriety now?
Not counting, but I'll be 7 in July.
Oh well, sorry. I think do I owe you a couple of coins? I've got these chocolate ones if you need. But those are great gifts for the grandkids, by the way. Those chocolate coins. But mentioned that she went to Texas, and all you said was that I was the only one not drinking that night. And I said, just hold the thought, because I want to hear this live, but I want to hear it because the emotions that I felt were not, oh, darn, I wish I was drinking. I felt that pissed. And it's not that I crave it. It's just pissed that everyone else is doing this a little bit. So I want to hear how this came about. I want to hear how you felt, how you dealt with it, and just run the story, play the story out for us.
Well, I've been with the company I'm with for 15 years, so you can do that math. 7 from the 15. So there was a good 8 when I was, the most fun in the company. So going away with the whole company to Austin, Texas for a celebration of our company's recently been acquired. So the new company is based out of Austin. So meeting all the folks, and there's, morning, noon, and night, there's something to do. And typically in the nighttime, there are events that have a lot of cocktails. They focus on that because doesn't everybody, when you're drinking and you're going out of town and there's no accountability other than all the people that I work with.
That's almost like as mandatory as the 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock training session. 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever.
And then cocktail happy hour.
Right.
So, it was very well done. I mean, it was lovely, events and rooftop bars. And in Austin, if you've not been there, they're kind of famous for their bats coming out from under the bridge. And so we were at a rooftop bar. Everybody's waiting at sunset, waiting for the bats to come out. And it seemed like it was taking a long time. So people kept going back and getting more drinks. Where are these damn bats? But I mean, it was pretty cool to see. And I'd been to Austin before, so that is something that's noteworthy. But, I think there are times when I felt like, am I standing here by myself, or are there other people around me? Because every once in a while, I just feel like, I think I'm all by myself here. I'm out on an island because I'm drinking these club sodas as fast as I could possibly drink them. To keep up, I'm like, to keep up with what? I'm feeling good. I'm participating. I have a conversation where I look at someone in the eyes instead of looking over their shoulder, like, is the waitress going by? So I can get another drink. Even 7 years out, almost. It's still it's not just a fleeting thought. It's right there in the front.
Do people at that event, did they treat you differently than they did during the day at the non-drinking events?
I'd say for the most part, no, because either they knew or they don't, or they didn't know and they don't care. I think as someone who's given up drinking, you think other people care a lot more than they really do, or they notice a lot more than they really do.
Do you find people hiding their drinking around you?
No. As a matter of fact, I don't know, this was the second night. So there were awards and dinner, cocktails and people walking around with espresso martinis on trays, they just flying by. Then there was the awards dinner, and then there's
how many awards did you get?
I did not get any awards because they don't know me yet. Next year. Gotcha. But anyway, they once it was all kind of wrapped up, people wanted to go to the bar down in the lower part of the hotel. And it was a small bar. And there was one bartender. I'm like, oh, they didn't do that right. So there was like a little line. So one of the guys that's a supplier to our industry, who's also one of the invited guests, who I've known for some time, he said, hey, Meegan, you jump up on that chair. People are going to follow you. Let's go to another bar. If you tell people to go to another bar, they'll go with you. And I thought, well, see, things haven't changed that much. Right. They still want me to jump up on a chair. And, I didn't do it, but I could have done it. And what I did do that night then was everybody's like scurrying out to go to the next bar. And I just scurried my way up to my hotel room.
Why? Why didn't you go with them?
By that time, people had had a lot of drinks.
Okay.
And they were, you're my best friend, and I got your arm on my shoulder, and isn't this the greatest thing? And I love you. I don't even know you, but I love you. And we're going to be best friends, to the new people. And I was like, yeah, I hate to use something that's used a lot, but then they're done that. And, it's just time. It's time for me to go. It's, the Irish goodbye. I don't leave without having to say goodbye to anybody. But, I can't say that I don't miss the sexiness of, the Sex in the City look, sitting at the bar with the martini or then drinking wine. There's a little bit of a fantasy still about that. But, that's just not my gig anymore. And the fact that I can still enjoy myself and I like to be around other people that I can actually talk to them and not look over their shoulders and wait for the waitress or waiter to come by so I can make sure I can get it, a second and third and, refill. So I'm paying more attention to the person than I am about, my own self. That feels pretty good.
What was a more, not difficult, but more noticeable dealing with your own emotions or dealing with yourself or dealing with others as they were drinking? Because I know what you're saying about, I don't mind being around people when they're drinking until they enter, phase 3 of the drinking. And then it's like,
yeah,
it's just not, you're validating why I'm glad I'm not doing this.
Right.
And now I just don't want to be around it. But I felt it's interesting because I don't crave alcohol anymore. I look at it a completely different way, which is nice because I don't miss it. I don't even give it the credit of what I gave it when I was drinking. Now I think I've opened the window of what I look at drinking is not just that 20-minute or 2-hour buzz. It's all the other stuff. There's a lot more baggage that comes with alcohol now in my mind. So making the choice not to drink it's not even hard anymore. It's almost second nature. But what I miss is not the alcohol, but the celebration that I guess is a memory. There's a little bit of we're all together, but now we're all together, but here's Jeff sitting there holding his Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier, I think, or it was a little easier to walk up to a bar, order a drink, even if you're by yourself, because you have something to do, because you're drinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then to walk up to a bar, order a seltzer, with a lime in a wine glass, like the way I like to order it. And, then you're kind of looking around like, this isn't, this is not giving me something to do. This is just putting something in my hand because I'm definitely not as thirsty as I look like I think I am.
I'm very confident. I love talking about it. Or if anyone asks, I love to wear that I don't drink anymore on my sleeve. I don't have a problem with that. But the ordering at the bar, that's the part where just hand me an alcohol-free beer or whatever. But I'm trying to think where I was just recently, but to say, I was traveling and I was at a Mexican restaurant by myself. I just said, do you have any alcohol-free beer? What? Because it was, and I, of course, yelled it to the whole thing, and everyone around could hear it. And I could no one said anything, but I could just hear he's got a problem. He's got a problem. He's got da-da-da-da-da. That judgment. And it pissed me off that I still notice that about myself. But love to just proud as hell that I'm no longer a slave to this thing.
Well, and I agree. I am proud of myself as well as I am of you, but I don't tend to discuss it around people who are drinking unless they actively ask me. And the only reason I think they actively ask me is because they're questioning their own self. So, I didn't want to be around people who weren't drinking. I know that because I would have felt guilty.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think people who are, really going at it, imbibing, they don't want to hear about my path, my journey, and how I'm almost 7 years. I don't think, but happy to talk about it, but it doesn't come up in maybe in the daytime, not so much at the nighttime.
How about your first year? What were the emotions you felt then? Do you remember?
Yeah, I didn't almost know what to do with myself. I had to rewire.
Some of these events you probably can't miss.
Like weddings, like the first wedding. I don't like to drive at night that much, and I definitely didn't drive when I was drinking. I'd take Ubers or I'd go with somebody. And I remember the first big thing I went to was a wedding, and I drove myself there because that's part of the toolbox, right? You gotta have to have an exit plan and drive yourself where you're going so you can leave whenever you feel like stressed or that you're triggered in any way. And I remember parking in the right spot, so it was a good exit for me. And the hostess of the wedding, her son that was getting married, the guy she was dating at the time was the DA the head prosecuting attorney in Cincinnati. And I left my keys in the car because I had a small purse. And I remember asking him, I'm like, I might want to get out of here early. So I left my keys in the car. Do you think that's a problem? And he said, what kind of car do you have? I told him I had a Hyundai. I had a Hyundai Elantra. And he said, I wouldn't worry about it getting stolen. And he said, I know a few police in the town that can find your car if someone decides they want to take your car. So I don't know that I ever, in future events, left my keys in the car again, but it's good to have a plan. That first year, that stands out in my brain because it was the very first event. And, them coming around to the tables and pouring wine, and I turned my glass over, and I had 2 club sodas, and no one knew that certainly at the table that I was at, nobody knew I wasn't drinking. And they kept saying, hey, Meegan, I'm going up to the bar. Can I get you a wine? Hey, Meegan, I'm going. I must have been very needy.
Well, I guess I was fortunate because I got started this journey during COVID. So there weren't the parties. I didn't have to, I avoided some of those things by pure luck or the timing of, unfortunately for so many, of COVID. But I knowing me as being a follower, the weaknesses that I have, I could just see going in that night in the first, hey everyone, here, grab a shot. We're all going to toast so-and-so. Pressure. Hey Jeff, come on, we're all going to have a beer to, I can just see myself. I would have had to, and I don't think I would have known it at the time. I would have had to prepare big time with what I was going to say. Almost rehearsing those things in my mind. But what I just wanted to hear your side, your version of this, because I could feel that, damn it, I'm the odd man out. And why, and then those resentments came back that I had of why me. I'm a nice guy. I don't turn mean. I'm the nicest guy in the world when I drink.
I'm happy drunk.
Nicer. Why does this have to, why am I the one that has to get, what about this? He becomes a complete ass. Why does he not have a problem and I'm the one? Well, he probably does, but you know what I'm saying? So there was a missing it, but there was also pissed.
Somebody older than myself, when I told them and I first stopped drinking, they said, "Oh, we're going to miss you."
Yeah.
Like, oh, where are you leaving?
I thought I was going to miss me too.
Yeah. Well, and you hear stuff like that. It's like, oh, thanks for that support. Way to go. I saw something recently. It was a little video or meme, whatever you call it, of a girls' night out. And there maybe was 6 women sitting at a table outside, like, on a nice night. That's always killer, right? Can't even drive by those places still because I want to go sit outside. Anyway, the first gal, who the waitress comes over and says, "What can I get for you?" And she said, "Do you serve espresso martinis?" This is a thing right now, by the way, in case you didn't know. And she's like, "Yes, we do." She's like, "I'll have one of those." And then the girl across the table said, "I'm going to have one of those." It turns out everybody at the table orders an espresso martini. And it made me think of something else I saw recently where it said, be careful when you follow the masses, because sometimes the M is silent.
Yeah.
So just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean you have to do it too. I mean, didn't your parents always tell you if your best friend was jumping off a bridge, were you going to jump off the bridge with them?
You know what? Sadly, for me, as insecure as I was, I probably was a lot more susceptible than I always envied the people that had that strength.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's just something that I have to prepare for. But there's just a lot of, that you mentioned the spring, and I think it's always like Memorial Day weekend is probably the day that I actually miss drinking the most, because it's warm out. There's all the outdoor, everyone's outside, grills are going. And it's not a craving the alcohol. It's just, it's craving the memory of what I had of that. And of course, with my euphoric recall, I don't remember all the crap. All I remember is the good stuff that happened. That's
such an important line that you just said, craving the memory. In AA, we read the promises, and they feel like the promises come true when you go through the 12 steps and you are a part of the fellowship and you're part of the community. And, I didn't get that, certainly in the beginning, but, after some time, I learned to have appreciation for those memories instead of kind of, oh God, why can't I be there still?
I think one thing I found is I now, because my memory was all I associated that day or whatever was alcohol. Well, alcohol took away maybe my smell. So now I smell the the warmth. It took away my focus. I now notice other things other than the level of my beer and where the waiter is or waitress.
Right.
It opened a lot of senses. The enjoyment I thought was strictly what was in that mug or
Right.
that glass, and now it took those blinders off, and now I associate that day with relaxing. I associate it with the feeling of the sun.
Mhm.
I associate it with music, friends. There's a lot of things that I think alcohol numbed me to. And the only thing that I thought of good, the only thing I associated the day with was booze. So you take that away, and of course it's a big empty feeling.
Yeah, well, it's funny, when you asked me about the Austin trip today, posted on our workplace, which is like an internal Facebook in our company. There were some pictures from the event, and there was one picture of me in the cowboy hat with the glasses. The theme was like glam Texas was the theme for the night. So, we had the glasses and the cowboy hat, and all the other gals from our company were flanked around me. I was in the middle. Somebody commented it looked like they were all Meegan's dancers. And I said, well, my album breaks tonight at midnight, and that was just a joke. I'll play on the Swifties.
There's probably some YouTube videos out there where there had some moves to copy from Meegan days gone by. So, it's one of the things I always feared was, am I going to still have fun when I go to this event not drinking? And I didn't. I was kind of right and wrong on both on it, because I didn't have the same fun, but I had it because I thought the only fun to have was the exact same fun. But
Right.
now it's a completely different fun. It's a very rewarding fun. It's a whole new kind of fun, that overshadows the old, but it comes with so many more lasting things and more value.
Excuse me.
But I feared, the only, if I'm not, how can I have fun if I'm not? Am I still gonna want to fall down and pass out, or am I still gonna be? Because that's the only way you can have fun, and it's
But
I
that's so
didn't realize it was
fleeting.
different.
If you think through it, that's so fleeting, because there's so much more to your night. There's so much more to your next day. And
Yeah.
you lose so much when you're in that shape. And I didn't realize that. I mean, it was, we used to give ourselves awards, my friends and I, like who was the most chocolate, which meant chocolate mess. Who was the biggest mess last night? And that was a funny thing. But
would it have been funny if it was only you?
Well, it turned out to be only me. After it caught up, I was the first one at the bar and the last one at the bar. Even with the persona of mom of 2 kids and raising them on my own and being involved with the PTA and all the volunteer things that you do in a small community, the drinking didn't go away. And I did feel like I was the only one. I did feel, and that's when I started to isolate, because no one drank as much as me. And that's a lonely place.
What's your advice to someone that's got these social events? The fears that I had of everyone's going to be noticing that Jeff, who is he put the Anheuser-Busch kids through college. He's not drinking. I mean, I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb. I'm not going to have fun. People are going to not want to. I mean, all the fears I had about how that evening was going to be, or the fears of that I'm going to break to it. So what is your advice for someone going into this?
As a female, you prep to get ready to go out. You pick out your outfit, you put your makeup on, you blow dry your hair. You take certain steps to get ready to go out at night. Well, maybe while you're doing those things, you you know, you think I'm going to enjoy myself tonight. And if I want to leave, I'm going to leave. You know, there, or don't go. You know, if it's not going to interfere with your work or whatever the event is, I mean, you can always say no.
I had to convince myself or get past my pouting, because if I'm not going to drink, fine, then I'm going to not have fun and I'll be miserable and I'll sit by myself. I won't. So I actually perpetuated the fear that I had that my evening's going to suck without drinking, because I wanted to prove to you and to me that like it would suck without drinking.
But
so
you know,
I sat there and fine. I won't dance. I won't do anything. And I'll show you how lame this is. And then I reiterated or reinforced that belief. It's when I had to say, Jeff, drop your guard.
well, that's like you're drinking at somebody when you were drinking. You know, that's why the AA program and a lot of the recovery programs are so great, because if you follow along, because they teach you how to live sober, not so much how to not drink. They teach you how to live sober.
Well, I had to give myself the green flag to try it, because I was pissed that it was me. So I was like, I'll show you. I'll ruin the party. If I can't drink, I'm going to ruin it for everyone. I mean, it was asinine, and I kept myself in this hole. And when I let myself out, I realized, holy crap, there's a whole new world of fun and enjoyment that doesn't come with all the crap that my drinking brought with it.
Every party has a pooper. That's why we invited you, Jeff Graham.
That's what I did.
Graham.
Well,
Yeah.
I was that way with, you know, my friends and family that told me to drink, you know, stop. You know, it was, and I think we're getting off topic, but I think people that go into rehab because they have to. I saw people going, fine, I'll do this. I'll sit here and I'll prove to you that it's a waste of time. You glad we just spent all this money? Told you it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, just going to rehab does not fix things. You can easily avoid sobriety in rehab if you want.
You know, somebody else isn't pouring it down your throat. You are. So somebody else,
like me,
somebody else isn't going to make you stop. You know?
But it was your fault why I was pouring it down my throat.
Right. That's that's how you've got to learn to, that's why for a lot of people, the first year of sobriety is like, oh, I'm just going to get through this first year. And then it's the second year hits and it's kind of the emotional sobriety starts, like, just like what you just said. Well, you know, if I'm miserable, everybody else is going to be miserable too. You know, I'm going to bring up all those old things that used to bother me. And now because I can't drink, I'm just going to be pissy in a corner.
Yeah. Hey, if I, where's the beer? No. If I have to drink Diet Pepsi, you're all going to drink it. Yeah. It was just, it was those games that I don't know. I had to
excuse me,
dabble and begin to believe that. Would you drop the COVID cough?
I know. I'm sorry. We should have said that. I'm just
hit your cough
end of COVID, and I'm having a little trouble deep breathing.
Okay, honesty is a big one in sobriety. True or not, you gave your dog COVID as well. You gave your dog COVID.
The dog is sick, and I'm sick. She's never been sick before.
You both are coughing.
She's yelping, and I took her to the doctor, and the doctor gave her the same medicine I take for my back. So I said, you know, maybe I gave her COVID. And I think, you know, I'm pretty lucky because this is the first time I've had COVID in 4 years. So I kind of consider myself lucky, but I am having a little trouble with the.
So you and Miss Willie are both under blankets on the couch watching TV together.
Oh man, she bit me today. She was so like I was trying to comfort her, and well, she wasn't having it.
Will you wrap your gabapentin in cheese as well?
Don't make me laugh because then I'm going to have a hard time.
Phlegm is going to fly.
Ew, I hate that word. Don't use that.
That is nasty. Well, any other thoughts on going into these events?
Well, I was at another thing 2 weeks ago, a surprise 60th for somebody, and they brought out all the lemon shots. Come on, you didn't get one. I'm good. You didn't get one, and sometimes you got to throw it over your shoulder too, just to shut people up. But, I did think this while I was still drinking, so I can't say I'm claiming this as a sober person, but it's always better to leave the party where when you're having a good time than you remember that you had a good time. So you can go into it and then leave, and you did your thing.
I had to set goals. I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then I'm going to get out of there.
Well, and certainly in the beginning, don't tempt yourself. It's just too hard. That's why some people drive home a different route, because they don't want to go by the liquor store or where they got their booze to begin with.
Well,
unlike me, where I had to go in and let the guy know that I was still okay.
The important thing though is if you're going to do events, you can pick events where alcohol is not going to be an issue. I mean, it's like vacations. Like if, picking a place where alcohol is not really prominent. Like, where are you going on vacation this year?
Yeah, I am going to Ireland. I'm going to bring out my Meegan brogue, and I'm going to be drinking 0 beer, I guess, even though I've never done that since I got sober. But yeah, I guess where are you going to pick a vacation that alcohol isn't prominent? Where are you going to go to an event where it's not prominent, unless it's a totally sober event and you're going to a Sands bar, which is so awesome that they have those. You can do that, but it's not the majority, that's for sure.
Don't you get deported if you order alcohol-free beer in Ireland, though? Do they even
I don't know. I guess I'm going to find out. I thought I'd just, wow them with my brogue that I really don't have.
Well, I
have a lot of dead relatives over there. I'll go pray to them. There could be some alive too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll find. Now, isn't your maiden name is McGillicuddy, right?
No, it's not McGillicuddy. It's McGoldrick.
McGoldrick. Okay.
Yeah, but McGillicuddy works too, because I've been called that as well.
You and Lucille.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go, but you've been such a gracious host that I wanted to reward you. And I nip things in the bud normally with you and keep you on a short chain, but I want you to, tonight we're going to give you the opportunity.
Wait, key of D. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right here. Start spreading. I'm leaving today.
Okay. That's awful. You were supposed to be.
Bum, 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 bum. I sang at a meeting recently.
You sang in a meeting?
Yeah, I sang. It was Frank Sinatra too. It was like, yeah, that's life. So part of the song says, I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out. And I know one thing, each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
We've done all those things, fall down on our face, and we pick ourselves up and get back into it. And you can go to parties, and you can go to events, and you can go to weddings, and you can do it all.
Did the bats come out?
They did.
Any fly into your hair?
No, but they were close.
Really?
There's thousands and thousands and thousands of bats that just come out from under this bridge. It's pretty cool. I mean, I did call the 911 once when I had a bat in my house, so I have changed my tune, I guess, a little.
Maybe that's why you're coughing. Maybe you got like bat scratch fever or something.
That's funny. That was very, very good, Jeff.
I will see you soon. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for asking me. We'll see you soon.
Enjoy Ireland.
Ah, you bet, my friend.
Plan ahead. Stay strong. Exit strategy. Open your mind.
The exit strategy is going to be a little more difficult because I can't drive on the other side of the road.
You'll have
It'll
a
be
blast.
great.
Send us pictures. All right, everyone. We will talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Stay on there, Meeks, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Say goodbye.
Bye.
And close enough.